Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is Chile Colorado. We're finally starting to get in some cold weather, and that's the perfect time to start cooking a stew. Now, one of my favorite stews to cook is a Chile Colorado. Now, this is a Mexican red chili beef or pork stew, depending on what you like. But for me, it's beef, and we're doing brisket today. Now, red chilies, we're talking about the opposite of chili verde. This is very similar to a chili verde, but we're doing the red version with brisket. Let's get into it. Today we're cooking over charcoal on the Kamado Joe, but we're making it easy. This is the Konnected Joe. It pretty much does everything for you. All you gotta do is add some charcoal. We're getting this loaded up with some Kamado Joe big block charcoal. Don't wanna get it too full, but we don't want too little either. I think we're at a good amount here. Coming up to the rings about just right. Let's kick it on, and we're gonna set the temp to 500 degrees. Crucial ingredients for the Chile Colorado, you gotta have red chilies, and they gotta be red. So it doesn't matter what you pick, you can do any combination. I really like this combination of these four. This is New Mexico, we've got some chipotle, we've got some ancho, and we've got some guajillo. When it comes to prep, all we're gonna do is take off that top end to get rid of the stem, open these up. I'm gonna lose the seeds and any of that stuff that's stuck inside. And then all you've got left is the flesh of the pepper itself. We got just a little bit of knife work to do today. We're gonna chop down an onion, get about 2 cups of large dice. We're also gonna need some garlic, and since it's going to stew for such a long time, we don't really need to break it down super fine. We're just gonna slice these garlic cloves up until we have about a 1/4 cup. Starting to come up to temp. That charcoal's still getting hot, but for now what we can do is we're gonna add a chunk of pecan wood just for a little extra smoke to work its way into the stew. And then we're gonna get our 12-inch cast iron skillet in here. This is what we're gonna toast our chilies in. Let's just let it warm up. So we're gonna throw all of our dried chilies into this dry skillet and let these toast for about 30 to 60 seconds on each side just to start to soften up. So before anything starts to char, you're gonna wanna make sure that you add some water to the skillet. Charring these chilies is gonna make them bitter, so before they get there, cover them with water and then put a lid on top. For the beef portion of this recipe, we're gonna be using brisket. This is stuff that I pulled out of the freezer, just kind of leftover brisket chunks. I want to cut those kind of into 1 to 2 inch cubes so that they'll break down as they braise. Once that water comes up to a boil, we're going to leave the lid on, slide it off the grill, and let those rehydrate for about 20 minutes. Now that we've given these some time to rehydrate, they're soaking up all that liquid, we're going to throw them into the blender with a little bit of beef stock and make a chili puree that we can add to this Chile Colorado. You're going to need 1.5 to 2 quarts of beef stock, just depending on how hot you're cooking today. But we're just gonna add just enough to make this into a puree for now. But once that's broken down and that's fully pureed, oh man, it's so earthy. It's got this like almost dried fruit kind of fruitiness to it, like raisins and that kind of stuff. Smells amazing. Back at the grill now, we've got a little avocado oil down in our Dutch oven. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna sear off this beef. We wanna get some good color and some texture on the outside. It's also gonna create some fond on the bottom of the pan that's gonna add a lot of extra flavor. The goal at this point is not to cook the beef, but just get some browning on the surface like we see right here. We have to work in rounds here, but we got it done in 2. The brisket's now browned. We're ready to start cooking our chorizo. So chorizo is kind of an optional ingredient when it comes to the Chile Colorado, but I just love the flavor. So we are using a beef chorizo today. We're gonna throw this in, get it browned up a little bit. At the same time, we're also gonna get some onions softened. And we'll kind of let those cook down together for now. We've got that chorizo browned, those onions softened. We kind of got all that fond off the bottom. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna throw all of our beef back in here along with the juices. And we're gonna start adding some seasonings. We're gonna get everything in the pot. We've got Cattleman's Grill Roadhouse. This is a great kind of Southwest seasoning. We're gonna add about 3 tablespoons of that. We're gonna supplement that with about a teaspoon of cumin, teaspoon of cinnamon. Here's your warming spices now. 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, and then a bay leaf. Get our sliced garlic in there. And then here's where the chilies show up to the party. All of our red chilies going in, that red chili paste. And then we've got a cup and a half of San Marzano tomatoes. This is starting to look a little bit like Texas chili, isn't it? So remember, we started with 2 quarts of beef stock. We don't have to add all of that right now. In fact, I kind of like watching this cook down and sort of messing with the consistency as it goes. So I'll check on this here in about an hour, see how that level is doing as far as the liquid goes. But as long as everything's covered, I'm happy. Don't let me forget a little dark Mexican beer in here. That'll put the exclamation point on it. We did the 1 hour check, we were looking good. Now we're about 2 hours in, and you can see that that liquid's really reducing down. This meat is not quite tender yet. We're getting real close, probably in the next 30 to 45 minutes. But for now, let's add some more beef stock. Our beef's starting to get tender now. If we smash this up against the side, it's gonna start falling apart. So at this point, what we wanna do is we're gonna add our potatoes. Now this is totally optional, but I like to add a couple pounds of potatoes. It kind of fills everything out. It's a nice textural variation from the beef to the potatoes. We're also gonna just make sure that they have enough liquid in here to braise and get tender. So beef stock or water to top things off. You don't have to go crazy, just enough to kind of braise those potatoes in there until they're tender for the next 30 minutes or so. So these potatoes have had a good like 30 to 45 minutes now where they're pretty much smashable. We're not gonna smash them just yet. The beef is in the same spot. Our Chile Colorado is ready to come off the grill. So there's a ton of rich, savory, earthy stuff going on here, which needs to be cut down with a little acidity. And we're gonna use half a lime to do that. This stuff is ready to eat. Let's dish it up. Man, this looks hearty. We're gonna top this off with just a little bit of cotija cheese for that funky saltiness. If you want some cilantro on there, good on you. Little beef, little potato. Pure comfort food. Those warming spices scream fall for me. But everything else feels like Southwest. It feels like Mexican-inspired stew. I mean, it is Mexican-inspired stew, and it's incredibly delicious. You gotta move on and try this one if you haven't tried it yet. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoy the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments or there's anything you want to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.